And we are live. Thank you for being patient, guys, and welcome to this special video. This is just a celebration that I wanted to do on this channel, celebrating reaching 300 subscribers. It's been a long time coming, and once again, I can't say it enough. Guys, I could not have done this without you. This channel, thank you for helping it grow and continue to grow on a weekly and, frankly, a daily basis. So, like I said, live chat will be open throughout this entire video, and I will be answering the questions that you guys have left for me in my Q&A video. So, without further ado, and before I get into that, actually, I do want to say I'd like to send out my thoughts and prayers to those affected by Hurricanes Harvey in Houston, Hurricane Irma that is currently ravaging Florida. Thoughts and prayers go out to all those affected right now. I know it's a very difficult time. I cannot imagine what you people are going through. It's just pure devastation and destruction on a whole nother type of level. And also to the people out in California who are dealing with wildfires. There's just a lot of stuff going on in this world, and you really have to stress this, Try and be nice to somebody else and to really just do the right thing and to love each other, and we need more of that in this world, especially during these difficult times. When you see these natural disasters, it ain't easy. So yeah, just make sure you always do the right thing. But thoughts and prayers go out to those affected by these terrible disasters. So with that being said, let's not waste any time, guys. I'm going to answer your questions. So we'll start here with question number one from my good friend Stooch. Stooch, I want to say shout out. Thank you for asking this question. His first question is, if you had a Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling, who would be on it and why? I don't think I've ever answered a Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling questions, but that's a very good question. On my Mount Rushmore, you got to have Stone Cold Steve Austin, obviously number one. What goes without saying? I mean, the way he was able to revolutionize the business. You got to have Austin up there. You got to have Hogan, because Hogan, the way he put WWF on the map, I mean, it goes without saying. Really, without Hulk Hogan, would the company have gotten to the point where Steve Austin could come in? One without the other. So you got to put Hogan up there. Undertaker, the greatest character in the history of professional wrestling. Goes without saying, The Undertaker. And, man, it's tough because you have to narrow it down to four people. Ooh, it's tough. I'm tied between Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels. That's a really tough call to make. And The Rock. I mean, it's just like, and, there's Bret Hart, Bruno Sammartino. There's just, oh, man. I'll go with Ric Flair. Because just the way you look at him, you think of one of the greatest world champions of all time, the way he carried that NWA World Heavyweight Championship, the WCW Championship, what he was able to do with his brief time in WWF, and, the Nature Boy. He is the man. To be the man, you had to beat the man. And Ric Flair, the way he carried, the territories back in the day, I'm going with Ric Flair. Truly one of the all-time greats. So that was a really good question. Thanks, Stooch. His second question here is, which WWE superstar do you think has the most potential to be a major draw? How should the writers develop that superstar storyline? Well, right now, if you had to ask me one wrestler that I think has the potential to be a major draw, I'm still going to go back to it. I think it's Braun Strowman. I think there's a lot of potential in Braun Strowman, just from his look to his intensity to it's really simple. He just kicks ass and takes names. That's what I've noticed when you keep the storyline simple. You don't let them get too convoluted, and you just have the guy go out there and kick ass and take names. And now he's going up against Brock Lesnar. I think Strowman, give him a run with the championship. What do you have to lose? Because I know they want to do Lesnar Reigns, but honestly, I would put the title on Strowman and see how he does with the Universal Championship. Because Brock's going away. Brock will be fine. Brock's Brock. Imagine if Strowman beat Lesnar at No Mercy, and just imagine. I mean, what could you do with him after that? Who would he feud with? I'm not sure. But Strowman right now is the guy that I see that has the most potential. And yeah, Braun, he's a badass. You saw what he did at SummerSlam and how the next night on Raw, he just went up right up to Brock Lesnar and freaking gave him 2 power slams. And then how he literally dismantled the Big Show. So I thought they've done a really good job of building up Braun Strowman. Question number 3. Will wrestling ever be able to regain the audience it had in the late 1990s / early 2000s? How should they do it? He personally thinks the tone needs to be less PC. And guys, as I'm answering these questions, feel free to get the discussion going in the live chat. Let me know what you think. But do you guys think that wrestling can ever regain its popularity from the late 90s, early 2000s? I think the talent's there. I just think they need to take the handcuffs off, drop the PC, political correct bullshit, drop the scripts, stop insulting our intelligence, and just give us good storylines for us to follow about characters that are well developed, placed in meaningful feuds. Keep it simple, good guy versus bad guy, but also get creative with it. Don't just become so bland, boring, and stereotypical. And another way to this would help. It'd be a little change, but I think it could go a long way. You need to drastically change up the formats of both Raw and SmackDown. They've become so stale, played out, and it's just like you know what to expect. Just do stuff that was spontaneity. Spontaneity. Probably not saying that right, but you guys know what I mean. Just something out of the ordinary. Whoa, I didn't see this coming. Whoa, what's going to happen next? One thing that I hate is the way that the show is shot, the production. Yes, it's a nice production design and what have you, but like the tropes they use with the camera angles, just do different things. Get somebody fresh in there. Get rid of Kevin Dunn. Get a fresh vision in there and see what you can do for your entire show. Truly shake things up. And, of course, Raw needs to go back to 2 hours. You're driving away casual fans by having a weekly 3-hour show that you have to watch. Competition would be the number one thing. That's the obvious elephant in the room. But obviously they're not going to try because they have no competition. And it is what it is. But do I ever see it getting back to that level? No, not unless real competition comes around. And I just don't see that happening. But thank you for the questions. They were very good. Yes. Question from my good brother Rodriguez. I'd like to say thank you for asking these questions. Here they are. His first question is, how would you change SmackDown Live right now if you had the steering wheel that some guy has right now? AKA, diggity, I can't handle opinions, and you are blocked, dog Brian James. That's great, because, Road Dogg, I always got to bring this up now. He'll block you. He's gutless. He's a gutless prick. And you know what happens when you block me on Twitter? He's on the list. So don't you worry. I already took care of Road Dogg, and I blocked him myself. So touche. Right back at you, buddy. Well, the first thing would be is if he's the head writer, I'd get rid of him. And if Vince McMahon's in charge, I'd get rid of him. And right now, what changes I would make to SmackDown, I could instantly think of it. Get that title off Jinder Mahal. I'm sorry. He could be in a good level at a United States Championship role, but him as a world champion just bores me to tears. Put the title on Nakamura. See what he can do. What have you got to lose at this point? I like the stuff they're doing between Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon. I would bring the Authors of Pain up and interject them into the SmackDown Tag Team Championship picture. Looking at so that would help freshen things up there because you honestly need another team because New Day and Usos, they really done it all as a feud. Outside maybe a Hell in a Cell match if they do that at the pay-per-view. I like AJ Styles as United States Champion, but let's do some United States Championship Open challenges that actually go a good distance in length. Why not? I mean, they brought it back, but they've kind of been dropping the ball on that. I mean, maybe they'll get it going with Ty Dillinger this week, but we'll have to see. I like Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan as authority figures. I'd like to see Asuka head to the women's division on SmackDown, but I have a feeling we'll see her on Raw. I think Finn Balor will make a good addition on SmackDown. He just feels lost in the shuffle. I do a better job at utilizing Sami Zayn because really they've done nothing with him right now. I turned Randy Orton heel because he just feels like a bland, boring. He's Blandy Borton. And I'd push Rusev, give him an opportunity. Seriously, because that guy's been there for quite a while, and he could have been at a world championship level if you built him up the way that he should have been. So those are just a couple changes that I'd like to see made to SmackDown Live. Thank you for asking the question. Question number 2 here. Would you see Asuka having the same streak she had in NXT, but on the main roster, and for 2 years instead of 1? It's a tough job, but honestly, Asuka is the one who can revitalize that women's division on Raw, because starting to lose hope there. SmackDown Live one isn't doing well either. Well, I think wherever you put Asuka, she's going to have buzz. She's going to have momentum. It's just important how you utilize her. If they bring her up, and then let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Vince McMahon has her lose her first match. I don't think they'd be that dumb to do it, or lose 2 months in. Business-wise, it does not make sense, because I keep going back to this point. Yes, we know it's all fake and scripted and choreographed, and I know that's our argument, but wins and losses inside the universe still matter. So you know what? You build Asuka up. Yeah, maybe have her go a year. Or if that's too much, 6 months. A 6-month winning streak. On the main roster, that would be something else. But build her up, and then when somebody beats her, it means something. Why? Because she won, and then when the person beats her, they get that momentum. So, yeah, I would like to see Asuka brought up on SmackDown, but I think she'll be going to Raw. But there you go. We'll see how they utilize her. But I have my reservations. His final question here. Do you think it's a good idea giving the Mae Young Classic win to Shayna Baszler just because of the Ronda influence and pushing her to her first match in WWE, or going with Kairi Sane? Because the 4 horsewomen of MMA should be more of a special attraction, and Shayna winning could damage that. Shayna has a sick finisher, but a former MMA competitor winning a women's wrestling trophy doesn't sound marketable to me. Kairi Sane would be a better NXT Women's Champion than Shayna, because I don't see Shayna working that long in NXT when WWE wants to have that match already with 2 horsewomen stables of each company, WWE and MMA, at either Summer or Survivor Series or WrestleMania. What's going on? Hill Stevens, thanks for joining me. Like I said, if you have any questions to ask, leave them in the live chat, and I'll get to them by the end of this video. But feel free to answer the questions that I'm rattling off here now. Mae Young Classic winner. I haven't really talked about the Mae Young Classic too much, but guys, I'm really excited for the finals. The only thing that worries me about the Mae Young Classic finals is the fact that it's going to be after SmackDown Live. And you know how I feel about them doing 205 Live after SmackDown Live. But we'll see. I like Shayna Baszler. I really like the way that they build her up as this legit. I mean, she is legit, but this legit, badass, no nonsense SOB. And she's going to go up there against Kairi Sane. Kairi Sane. There we go. I think I got her name right, but I like her a lot, Kairi Sane. And I think if built up correctly, she could be the next, fill that void of Asuka very nicely. So I think due to the fact that they're teasing a 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen match, and I'd like to see that take place at Survivor Series. So I think that opens the door to Kairi Sane winning, and it would just make sense. You have Shayna Baszler and her crew with Ronda Rousey fight the 4 horsewomen, which I think would be a nice attraction in a traditional Survivor Series elimination match. So yeah, my pick to win the Mae Young Classic is Kairi Sane. So thank you for asking that question. And without further ado, let's get to the next one. My good friend Robbie. Robbie, thank you for asking me these questions. His first question here is, which match in the Mae Young Classic has been your favorite so far, and which wrestler, still active or eliminated, has impressed you the most? Oh, I've been so busy, it's just been tough to keep track of all these matches and everything to watch. But if you give me a minute, I'll pull up the matches here on Twitter. Guys, what are some of your favorite matches in the throwing it out there? There were some good matches. There really were. Let's see here. Well, I'll start off with some people that have impressed me. Obviously, I said Shayna Baszler, Kairi Sane. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to that showdown. Toni Storm, she had a nice showdown with Piper Niven. Another one who impressed me with her. She's a larger woman, but she was really agile, Piper Niven, and she would be somebody that I would like to see WWE sign if they have the chance to. Just looking here. Like I said, thank you guys for watching live. I really appreciate this. Like I said, this is giving back to you guys, my loyal 300 and 305 subs. So thank you for tuning in. A couple more names here. Candice LeRae, who I believe is that Johnny Gargano's wife. Yeah, she really impressed me. And Dakota Kai. I got a Bailey vibe from her, and I don't know if you guys did as well, but she's somebody that I'd like to see WWE sign. But yeah, those off the top of my head. I really like the match between Piper Niven and Toni Storm. I thought the match between, just looking here, you know what? The match between Serena Deeb and Piper Niven wasn't too bad, from what I can remember. The first round, I don't know if it was actually Kairi Sane and Bianca Belair. I thought they had a pretty good match in the second round. But yeah, those are just some of the matches up. Like I said, I've been really busy. Like I said, I watched all of the Mae Young Classic up to this point, but didn't have a chance to make a video on it. So that's kind of my quick thoughts here. Mia Yim versus Sarah Logan. That was another good match. Abby Leif versus Jazzy Gabbert. Hope I get these names right. Sure, those were some other good matches there. So, yeah. Thank you for asking that question. Which actor do you think would make a perfect Venom for a Spider-Man Homecoming sequel? Well, Robbie knows. I am a huge fan of the web-slinger himself, Spider-Man. But who would I think that would make a good Venom in the next Spider-Man Homecoming movie? Not really too good with actors, to be honest. But I would like to see Venom appear because I thought they did a horrible job of playing, who was it? That guy from that 70s show. I can't remember his name. Played him in Spider-Man 3. I just was not a fan of the way they utilized Venom. So, yeah. Not sure who, but I would like to see Venom appear in the next Spider-Man movie. So I hope I answered that question the best I could, even though I kind of got around it. What is your biggest concern for Asuka when she debuts on the main roster? It's just how she's booked overall, and if they book her to be as dominant and strong as she was in NXT. I know she'll eventually lose, but it's how they follow up after she loses, and if they make it a big deal or if they don't make it a big deal. Because if they just beat her and she just kind of feels like everybody else on the main roster, then what's the point? She has momentum. You carry that over from NXT. You have her go after the Women's Championship, and you see where you can go with it. That's my biggest concern, the long-term plans for Asuka, because nobody is ready for Asuka. If WWE signed Conor McGregor to make a special appearance at WrestleMania 34, who would you want him to see have a match with? Conor McGregor in WWE is something that I'd like to see, because I like Conor McGregor. I think his attitude, his personality is something that would be well suited for WWE. And if he could have one match in WWE, it's a match that I'd want to see. I'd want to see Brock Lesnar versus Conor McGregor. I think that would be a special attraction, and the best place to do that match would be on a stage as big as WrestleMania. And his final question here: if you could meet any one of your childhood icons at a future Wizard World Pittsburgh Comic-Con, who would it be? Childhood icons. I'd love to meet The Rock. If I met The Rock, I think I'd probably just pass out because I'm just such a huge fan of The Rock. Man. I'd love to meet Shawn Michaels. If we're just talking wrestling. Man. That's a really good question. I'll go ahead and say it. I would love to meet Michael Keaton. If you guys have seen Batman 89 or Batman Returns, he is my favorite Batman, and he also did go to the high school that I graduated at, Montour High School. So it'd be really nice to meet Michael Keaton. In my opinion, the best Batman of all time. Who else? This is a good question because it really gets you thinking, Childhood icon. Oh, I know. Well, his name is Bond. James Bond, as you all know. Or if you don't know, I am a huge fan of James Bond. So I would still like to meet Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig, and I'll throw Timothy Dalton in there because I'm a fan of all the James Bonds. And why not George Lazenby? He only did one, but it was a really good Bond movie. So if you're a fan of James Bond, you know what I'm talking about. And speaking of, I cannot wait for the next James Bond movie. 2019, I'll be almost finished with law school by then. Man, that would be awesome. And if there's any Bond fans out there in the comments section, let me know some of your favorite James Bond movies. That's a video I got to do down the line because I really am a huge fan of the James Bond film series. It's probably like my first favorite film series ever. That and Jurassic Park. Those are like the two that go hand in hand with me. But yeah, those are just some of the people that I'd like to meet. That's a really good question. Thank you, Robbie. All right, my good friend Mike. Mike, thank you for asking these questions. And yes, I look forward to doing the end of the year awards video. That will always be an annual tradition that we will do here on this channel. And it's coming up sooner or later. It's hard to believe we're already it's already September. Excluding guys like Kurt Angle or The Rock, is there anyone else you would like to see Triple H feud with? First name comes to mind is Samoa Joe. You ask, how could you get there? Well, Joe was brought in by Triple H, but say, you know, originally he was like the hired hitman, the assassin for Triple H, but over time, you know, Joe just strays to his own path. You know, he does what he wants to do, and he becomes less and less of an assassin for Triple H and more of his own man. And then eventually he turns on his, you know, his NXT dad, and there you go. Could easily set up for Samoa Joe versus Triple H, which would be a match I'd like to see at WrestleMania next year. I think they could have a pretty kick-ass street fight. I'd like to see that. Or no holds barred. Why not? Besides Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, what other feud would you like to see happen again with the roles reversed? Ooh, I always like a good role reversal. And that's a really good question. Could I just say any feud with Roman Reigns? Because if you turn him heel, that opens up a whole different number of possibilities. Role reversals are always interesting. That one really, because I'm thinking off the top of my head. Feuds that have already happened with the roles reversed. Man, I'm blanking here. I really am. If you guys want to help me out here in the live chat. But I think a Bray Wyatt babyface turn versus a heel Roman Reigns, because I thought they actually had really good chemistry in their matches, would be interesting. They've already had to have feuded. That's the thing. Yeah, I'm having trouble here. Well, if they did Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns with the roles reversed, with Brock as the babyface and Roman as the heel, I think that would be interesting. Yeah, that's all I got for that one. That's a good question, but really having a tough time with it. If you could go back in time, which WrestleMania would you have liked to attend live? WrestleMania 17. In my opinion, it's one of the best pay-per-view events of all times, and it would have transported me to the Attitude Era. And to go to the Attitude Era, that would have been freaking badass, because I completely missed out on that. Just the fun atmosphere and the show that they put on that night. I mean, it was legendary. You had TLC 2. You had Taker versus Triple H. You had The Rock versus Austin, their second match, but I thought was their best match. You had Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle. I mean, you just had a stacked card up and down that show. So that would be the one WrestleMania that I would like to go back in time to watch and to be there at. That would just be incredible. If you could change the names of the match stipulation pay-per-views like Hell in a Cell, TLC, etc., what would you change them to? Well, that's a great question, because I think these names absolutely, positively suck. I hate gimmick pay-per-views. It waters down the gimmick, and it just feels less special. Just like, oh, it's coming up, guys. October 8th. It's Hell in a Cell time. No. You save that for the right moment, the right feud. So just looking at the names here, Elimination Chamber, No Way Out. Put that back to No Way Out. Extreme Rules. Honestly, I would just get rid of that. I hate the name Extreme Rules. Let's bring back Judgment Day. Hell in a Cell. I like this one. Halloween Havoc. If there's any WCW fans out there, I like the name Halloween. I always did Halloween Havoc. What else do we have here? We have, what do we have? We got TLC. I'd get rid of that. I'd bring back Armageddon. The other names are okay, but the gimmick pay-per-views, those would be the names that I'd change them to. Judgment Day, Halloween Havoc, Armageddon. I loved Armageddon. That was just a really badass pay-per-view name. And yeah, Halloween Havoc did have some pretty bad names, big jack-o'-lanterns. And remember when we used to have different pay-per-view sets? Boy, weren't those the days. Another reason it's just like, man, they can't do that anymore. Why? Because, I mean, I thought you're making more money than you do now than ever before. Yet you can't do a simple pay-per-view change for the sets. Okay, I see how it is. And if Edge was to wrestle one more match, who would you like to see him fight? Man. Oh, man, Edge, he left us in the ring way too soon. Still bothered me that he had to retire. But if Edge could come back for one more match, man, that's a good question because there's just so many good people on that roster that he could work with right now. If you're just talking the current roster, it'd have to be Edge as a heel. Because Edge is a babyface, he was okay, but his bread and butter. Ooh, there it is. Thank you. Edge versus AJ Styles. That would be phenomenal. Edge versus Goldberg. I wonder if they ever had a match. Edge versus Goldberg. Interesting food for thought. But yeah, AJ Styles versus Edge. That would be sick. So thank you for the questions. Ultra Shadow, got your questions here. How would I make WWE better? We're going to make it great. We're going to make Raw great again. It'll be commercial free. What we're going to do is we're going to build a wall around Vince McMahon's house, and we'll trap him in there, and he'll never be able to get out. And then Triple H will run WWE. That's how we're going to make it great. But in all seriousness, Donald Trump aside, it's like I said here, just cut the scripts, come up with creative, intuitive storylines that actually go somewhere. And I'm a lawyer. I'm becoming a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer yet. Use logic and continuity because otherwise your storylines make no sense. Don't insult our intelligence. Develop interesting characters. When you bring these people up from NXT, actually have a plan to do something with them and not just shit all over them. Put Raw back to 2 hours and just don't insult my intelligence. Just give me something good to watch and I'll enjoy it. It's really that simple. If you could travel anywhere around the world, where would it be? Anywhere in the world. That's a really good question because there's so many places that I'd like to go to. Man. It's a shame. Like, you think about how much of the world's out there and you never get to see. Yeah, make good TV again. That would be a godsend. Anywhere in the world. Hawaii. I always wanted to go to Hawaii and just sit on the beach and soak it in, man. I'd love to go to Hawaii. That's like my dream place, so it would be Hawaii. Jack, who's in the live chat, thank you for this question. Who from the Mae Young Classic could you see as a future star? Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler, Piper Niven, Tony Storm. Those are the names that come off the top of my head. Let's see who else we got here on the list. Candice LeRae, I liked her. Bianca Belair, but she did pretty good. Yeah, there was actually a fair amount of good talent here in the Mae Young Classic that I was impressed with. So I've been enjoying it a lot. It's been a breath of fresh air. I like when they do these tournaments. Japan would be another good country. Going back to Ultra's question, Japan, Nintendo, New Japan Pro Wrestling. It'd be awesome. So much to see and do in Japan. But yeah, Japan and Hawaii, those are probably my two top places. But yeah, that's who I see from the Mae Young Classic that has a chance to be a star. Finally, here from NC. Thank you for the questions. A good friend. Since the return of Kurt Angle, what are 3 dream matches with the active roster you would like to see Kurt Angle be in? Kurt Angle versus Seth Rollins. Kurt Angle, believe it or not, versus The Miz. I think there's something there. It's a match I'd like to see. And one more match with Kurt Angle. There's a lot of good talent out there. Kurt could come back. Man, there's a ton of good talent out there for him to work with. I'd have to go with Kurt Angle versus Cesaro. I think that would be a really good match right there. Angle versus Nakamura. Thank you. Yes, that would be another one I'd have to throw in there. So, yeah, why not make it 4? All right. Does WWE 2K18 spark your interest more than 2K17? Honestly, I can't say I've been that interested. I've just been really busy with law school and what have you, so I just really haven't time to play video games in general. I got 2K17, and I played a little bit here and there, and then it just fell into the wayside, so not going to get it. Like I said, I've just been really busy when it comes to my studies, my schoolwork, so yeah, not so much. And honestly, 2K17, it was okay. Yeah, I'm just not interested in it. What are your thoughts on the Sexy Star and Rosemary incident? I think it was terrible. I think it was appalling. I think it was unprofessional by Sexy Star. That is not the way you handle your opponent in the ring. The whole idea of professional wrestling, it's really a dance. You're supposed to protect your partner when you go in there. And you violate that code when you lock in an armbar and you freaking hyperextend her arm and you want to hurt her intentionally. So, yeah, I would never, if I were in her shoes, I would never want to work with somebody like that in the ring. And she should honestly be blackballed from the professional wrestling industry. Normally, I don't say that. I'm usually like, give them a second chance. But when you do something like that, how can you go in there with somebody like Sexy Star and trust her to protect you and take care of you? It takes 2 to do this. So, and I liked her in Lucha Underground, but after seeing what she did, that's disgusting. It's despicable. And she's a piece of crap, and she's on the list. And good riddance. If WWE was to make a Legends House Season 2, which Legends would you like to see on the show? Yeah, that's not a show that I watched on the network. I don't know if you guys watch Legends House. Looked interesting, but Legends House with an all-star lineup. Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker. Let's just do Attitude Era. Kane, Mick Foley, Triple H. Put them all in the Legends House. There you go. That would be my Legends House crew. And the final question here is, if we travel back to the year 2006, way after the invasion, you were in charge of booking and creating storylines. Would you make a better version of ECW or stick to having NXT? Keep in mind, in the year 2006, we had WWE, TNA, ROH, CZW, and others at their best. The indie market wasn't as great as it was now for recruiting talent. That's a really good point and a good question. Thank you, NC. Well, I did not start watching until 2008, so I have to keep that in mind. Just seeing the way that ECW went, and if you started NXT back then, think of where it could have been now. Although the executive vice president of talent relations was, of course, John Laurinaitis. Wasn't Triple H. So I don't know how that would go. If it was Triple H still doing the executive VP, that would make a big difference. Why not? Because ECW, honestly, it was a bad idea for them to bring that back. It didn't really go anywhere in the long run. Yeah, you might have got guys like Punk and Morrison, I know, was on there, and a couple other guys here and there, but yeah, I would have just I don't know why they got rid of their deal with Ohio Valley Wrestling. That really head scratched me there. OVW really is where guys like Orton, Batista, Lesnar, Benjamin, Cena came from. So I really don't understand. You had a good developmental system there, and then you just stop. And I know they went to FCW, but that always baffled me when they did that. But yeah, good question, and I hope I answered it to the best of my ability. So before we go off the air here, guys, I'll open the floor in the live chat. Feel free to throw any questions that you have at me now. Whatever you got, give me your best shot. Before we wrap up this video here, like I said, it's been really fun answering all your questions, and it's been great having you guys here as a live audience. I really appreciate that. So we'll give you guys a couple minutes here to ask questions. What music have you been listening to lately? Actually, a band called Greta Van Fleet. They have a really kick-ass tune. It's called Highway Tune. Check them out. They're going to be a band to keep an eye on if they can make it big. But I've been listening to them. Really just some Avenged Sevenfold, Metallica, Rise Against, Nirvana. I do not have a Nintendo Switch yet. I would like to get one if I ever have the time. It's just tough being in law school. Like I said, that really just cuts down on my time. I'm really doing any of this, but like I said, I have time to come up here on this channel, so it's great to be back. I'd like to get a Nintendo Switch, especially for Super Mario Odyssey. That game looks fucking awesome. How would you have booked Nick Dinsmore in WWE? I don't know who Nick Dinsmore is. That actually, Dinsmore. He's a WCW guy. I don't recognize it at all. That's why. Oh, that's Eugene. Okay. That was Eugene. I didn't realize that was his actual name. Not too sure about that one because, like I said, I haven't really caught up to the 04, 07. Well, he was in WWE from, looks like 04 to 06. Yeah, so I'm not sure how to book Eugene, really. But, yeah, don't know about that one. Any other questions, guys, before we wrap it up here? Like I said, it's been great doing this. It's been great. Like I said, I cannot thank you guys enough for helping this channel grow to over 305 subscribers. I'm truly blessed and grateful for all your guys' help, for all the love and support. I couldn't have done it without you guys like the Lexman, Nerd Coalition, Jack Southall, Ultra Shadow, TN Couponer, to Club of the Man 1993, Robbie One Kenobi. I don't want to forget people, but there's been so many great people to meet out there in this YouTube community, and thank you for the well wishes. I appreciate that. What match would you show a non-wrestling fan? That's a good question. There's so many good matches out there. If I had to show him one match, it'd be Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. You do not get much better, in my opinion. The greatest match of all time that I've ever seen. Nothing comes close. So yeah, it would definitely be that match. So guys, looks like it's it for this live Q&A video. I will have to do one of these again soon down the line, but I want to say thank you for all tuning in, for asking your questions. I love live format here, get to interact with you guys. So that's something always great to do. If I'm able to, I will be back. I will try and be back up here for a live Raw review. Should be able to, depending on my school schedule, but it's looking likely I will be able to do that. Not sure about SmackDown. Might have to save that in the Mae Young Classic thoughts for a weekend video. Might be the best time to do it, just based on my law school schedule. But be sure to check out both my card predictions videos for both No Mercy and Hell in a Cell. They are up there. Those are my latest videos. And that is it, guys, for this live video Q&A. I want to say thank you all for tuning in, for asking your questions. It's great having you as an audience. And until next time, I will catch you guys later. Have a great night, and take care.